So I've just been messing around with this. Got 45mm ID radiator hose. It was the only 90 in super cheap in that size. Got half a metre of, I think it's 1.6mm exhaust tube. So that was $19. I think that was 22, and then I got 3 60mm clamps, 4 clamps, sorry. Yeah, to start messing around with this. So originally thought 500mm, but it's going to be too tall by the time I put the bowl on. So I've sort of marked it halfway, which will sit about there, you know, where the bowl will sit will be about there. So that should be heaps far enough to get out the dust and silt and shit. Yeah, I'm hoping to find next, I probably won't go into super cheap till next week, but hoping to find like another 90 that might have a 15 or something to start going up, like at the top of the wheel arch. So yeah, I've started that, just messing around with that, cutting it down to size. And what else? The deck brake bracket turned up while I was out at work anyway. So that's that bracket in there. I don't know if you can really see it. So I put that on today. I've got the 2 drive belt pulleys, which is up under there. So to get to them, I've dropped the deck off and then pull like that belly plate out to get to those pulleys. So I've got a little bit of work today to do on the mower without spending $1 million. So yeah, I'll get in and finish this off. So at least that one part's done. I'll fit it all up, get it cut to size and all that. It is aluminised exhaust pipe, so I can leave it that colour. I think I'd rather just paint it black so it sort of blends in a bit. Yeah, I did want to order the piston rings, piston seal kit, head gasket, etc. yesterday, but there was 2 old guys at the counter there, so and they were talking to the manager, I don't know, you know, customer person. So I didn't want to stand around there all day because not long come off night shift and then spent 3.5 hours in the car, so I was pretty over yesterday. So yeah, I'll get all this fitted up, at least sort of half finish it. So yes, that should, you know, sort of sit about there, roughly, give or take, a little bit higher. And I'll make a, knock up a bit of a stay bracket to come to the exhaust tube, so it's got a bit of support and it's not just sitting on that, wobbling around. Also want to get a couple of proper bolts and some nylocks, so that way that won't ever come undone. So yeah, a little bit of work today. I'm just going to tack this up. I found a bit off, I don't know what that's off. I thought it was a trampoline or something. Bit of a L bracket. So I'm just going to put a couple of tacks here. I've just spaced it off so that's nice and vertical, which it pretty well is. And I've just got a clamp there like that for now. And it's pretty well vertical side to side, but I can also undo the rubber hose and just twist it a little bit. So this will probably be the final design kind of thing. I may have to drill another hole just to put a second bolt in, just to stop, you know, if there's too much play there. But I'll put a few tacks in, weld it up. I've just got it spaced with a screwdriver so I get it level. Put a few tacks in either side, and then I'll just build that bit of a gap up. It doesn't have to be a work of art, it just needs to do the job. It's a farm as well, basically. I'll get on with it. Yeah, so I've got that tacked in, just filled a little bit of that gap with weld. I'm not the best welder, but she's on there pretty solid. I'll just give it a bit of a tidy up with the grinder and that. I think it was a bit hard to, because it's got that aluminium coating on it, I'd say that's probably why it was spattering and carrying on, and had a bit of, I don't know if you can see, a bit of porosity there. Just enough flex between that hose, and I used I think it was a VR sway bar rubber mount, so I just cut it down a bit, and yeah, drilled another hole in the deck, which I didn't want to, but couldn't quite get it was about an inch, this was about an inch too short to fully line up with the hole in the deck there. So yeah, that's pretty well done. Let that cool for a while. I'll take it all off. I don't know if I go into town or not, get some etch primer, see how I go. And that way I can still got a bit of adjustment between the hose and that, you know, to make sure that the dust bowl's properly level, so I can still move it, you know, side to side and front to back. So yeah, I'll let that cool. Well, it doesn't turn out too badly. I'm not the best welder, but just hit it with the grinder, grinding disc and tool on the Dremel, just to tidy the edges up a bit. Yeah, I'll just use whatever. Just go to fin first coat. I'll let that go off for 10-15 while that can heats up a bit more. Well, I've got that all installed. So that's the intake side. Snorkel setup is all complete. I don't know if you can really see my welds. I'm not the best welder. Grinder and paint make the welder I ain't. So I gave it a few coats yesterday of the snorkel, and then just gave the lid a bit of a wire wheel on the sand and just hit it with some of that Caterpillar paint. It's the best paint, hey. Like, it really does give kind of a factory finish, but sort of messed the lid up a bit because it's windy today, so there's a lot of bits and pieces stuck in it. I don't have any edge primer, so yeah, I've just scuffed it up, wiped it with some CLR, let it dry in the sun for 10 minutes, and then gave it a few coats. So that side's all done. So even if, you know, you'd have to be on a pretty good angle to allow the seat to recline back far enough for it to actually hit the bowl, so that's worked out really well. So next week it's just a matter of going to Super Cheap, have a look around, see what hoses I can find that, you know, have a few different bends in them. I don't know if I'll get enough time to fully finish it right up to the front before I go back to work next Wednesday, so at least got that done. Get onto the deck next, maybe the servo, see how I go. Did a week of night shift and God, it hurts when you're 45. I used to do 2 weeks of it before I met my missus. 2 weeks of night shift and I loved it. But I was in me, mid late 20s back then. So probably going to go and have a bit of a kip now. Put my feet up for a while. Yeah, and she's pretty solid too. Like a little bit of movement, just enough to sort of help knock the dust out of the air. I gave that a bit of a clean up with an old tube of Maguire's Scratch X. Thing's about bloody 15 years old, so it's not as yellow as it was. But I might shout myself a new bowl and lid maybe. Don't know. See how it goes. I just need to trim that rubber down a bit so it looks a bit nicer. Yeah, quite proud of that. It's turned out better than what I thought it would, and there's still plenty of room on the little trailer with the length of the drawbar. So yeah, that's that for now, and I will catch you later.